Hi, welcome to Monitoring and Evaluation Made Simple. I'm your host, Coach Alexander. If you are here for the very first time, you do well to subscribe to this channel because on a regular basis I post updates on M&D. So today I thought we could talk about monitoring and evaluation in the education system. First, I want to tell you one thing, that M&D is cross-cutting. It can be applied anywhere. And even though it is more prominent in the humanitarian work, where you have projects dealing with food security, dealing with women empowerment or reduction in poverty in certain parts of this world, it can also be applied in education systems. You see, every country has an education system which has a purpose, and we know that purpose, don't we? It is there to educate the citizens. And the whole purpose of doing that is ultimately, when you have an educated nation, you have an economically viable nation. I mean, think of it. Many of the successful countries around the world, if you look at their statistics, they have very strong education systems. So now, it is obvious that to have a strong education system, it should be an education system which has high quality. So now, quality, of course, is relative. But at the end of the day, what is it that we want to see out of our graduates? Those are key questions that many nations ask themselves when doing the planning. If we graduate this person in medicine, what is it that we want to expect him to do? If we graduate this person to become a pilot, what is it that we want to see him doing? If he's an engineer, what is it that should come out of him? So there are a lot of things that are involved in bringing out the best in a student, in a graduate. But in order to achieve those things, you need to have a strong M&D system. So many of these M&D systems are, what can I say? They are really in every stage of the education system. In many cases, when you look around the world, you have higher education, you have trades, you have junior education, but at each of these levels, there is an M&D system. So now, what does that M&D system do? There's no need to be complicated. There's no need to be confused at this stage, because it really is a quality assurance mechanism. Okay, when you have an M&D system in the education system, it is really a quality assurance mechanism. Why do I say so? Because take, for instance, in universities, they have different departments, but those departments, some of them are there for a specific purpose of ensuring that indeed so the mechanisms that are in place in the institution are bringing out the best in a student. So take, for instance, if you have lectures in a university, for instance, they are delivering education or imparting knowledge to the students. There is need to be able to assess the quality of their teaching. And this can only be done, this can only be achieved by measuring how well the students are doing in their tests, in their assignments, and also the ratings, the feedback that students are giving out concerning a certain lecturer. Take, for instance, you could ask students, does this lecturer come on time for his classes? Is he punctual? Do you understand him clearly? How does he communicate? All those things. So all those things are kind of like monitoring mechanisms in the institution. Another monitoring mechanism could be that the lecturers themselves are monitoring the performance of students. They are monitoring the attendance of students. Okay? That is the lighter phase of the M&D system that I'm talking about. That is for the institution. But now when you go broader, it gets even more exciting because you have a national M&D mechanism whereby these programs that are being delivered to the public, let's say if it's engineering, each of these engineering programs, are they meeting the demand of industry? Are they quality assured? You see? And then when you do that, when you quality assure the programs through M&E mechanisms, then you'll be gaining trust in your education system. Okay, so to spell it out in a manner where you don't get confused, because it can get really confusing, I know, but the whole purpose is that M&D in the education system is a mechanism for quality assurance. So when you do the monitoring, when you're monitoring student performance, when you're monitoring other variables like lecturers' quality of teaching, or number of graduates per year, or number of resources put into running the program, or things like that. Many other things. There are so many variables. Ultimately, what you're doing, you're trying to ensure that all these practices are bringing out the best in the students. So I think as time goes on, I'm going to help you see, like if this is an area of interest for you, let me know in the comment section. But as time goes on, I'm going to really dive into this topic of monitoring and the evaluation in the education system. I didn't want to keep this long, but if you haven't done so, please subscribe to this channel. I've been your host, Coach Alexander, and see you on the other side. Bye.